This movie doesn't have a tagline, so we're getting sexy. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
We're getting DILFy.
Something like that. This is episode 303. Yeah, that's right. Of I Hope You Suffer.
Wow.
I'm Deadly.
I'm DILF.
Yeah.
Good luck, Katie.
I'm inmate.
Katie's prison guard.
Yep.
This week we were talking about 2023's very good Tubi original. Finally, a good Tubi original, Deadly DILF.
Banger.
With our special guest, Sheridan Ray from a bunch of podcasts.
Here I am. Hello. What an entrance. What an entrance.
Yeah. Everybody fighting technology. Every episode we do, we're fucking one of us can't get Skype to
for our
work.
life.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Years-long battle.
Yeah. Yeah. We watched a movie called Deadly DILF because, of course, we did.
Deadly DILF.
And it was a banger. At least I thought
Slaps.
so. I mean, it's not good, but it rocks.
Disagree.
The last like 40 minutes, perfect. Perfect cinema.
It goes there.
So I really want to know what Katie thought, because Katie was like, I got some opinions in our pre-record.
Well,
I assume Katie hated it because Nathan and I both liked it.
No, I didn't hate it. Okay, as you guys well know, I'm very versed in the world that is Lifetime original movies.
I thought you were gonna say DILFs.
No. So I don't think it's actually shocking to know that I'm not very well versed in the world of DILFs.
I'm shocked.
And so I didn't like Lifetime Movie Network is obviously not what it used to be in like the early 2000s. That was like when they really they couldn't lose. There was hits left and right. It was all scandalous. It was all like they all went there, right? And I think that this movie was actually totally fine. Like I thought I was first of all very surprised by the production value of it. Like it just really looked like a regular movie. I liked the weird filter that they...
What a compliment. It looked like a movie.
Compared to like some of the other Tubi original movies, that the production value is like drastically different than this movie, I think. Like, I thought that whatever filter they put on it, I really liked. The music was kind of weird for me in some scenes, I think. But this is like the real issue. This movie is totally fine. We started talking about this earlier, and I was like, just because my opinion is that like this actually is like somebody watched The Crush and then somebody watched Swim Fan and then like put them together, but those two movies are incredibly better than this movie, and I think that like we'll get into some stuff later as to why I appreciate some of the things that they did in this movie a little bit. But, like, I just felt it was really long for the ending we got. It's like they had all these long, drawn-out, like, scenes of the main character, Elysium, doing just, like, crazy shit. And then the end was literally just, like, cut to, like, stuff that we don't even get explained at all, and I was like, excuse me, I just sat here for like 2 hours and I have I
need you to understand that this movie was 97 minutes long.
No, the runtime was like an hour 34 or 40 something 43 on Tubi.
97 minutes on Letterboxd.
It's not. It wasn't.
That's what it said on Tubi.
It did not say that on Tubi for me. I probably watched the special extended version.
Yeah, you watched the director's
cut.
I will say my version was an hour and 37 minutes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's 97 minutes.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh, wait,
long.
no, it's not. No, it's not. Is it?
Yeah,
No.
60 minutes plus a half an hour is 90, and then plus 7 minutes is 97 minutes.
Okay, but that goes back to my point. That's almost
It's
2
like
hours.
almost, no, it's not. It's almost an
It
hour.
is literally a 4-hour-long miniseries.
I think you have to cross the 45-minute mark for it to be almost 2 hours.
It's almost 2 hours with the fucking ads.
I mean, yes, it's a long movie with ads, but I feel like when I watched it, because I don't know if this is a thing for just Tubi originals or maybe I just got lucky. I had one
There are
commercial.
very few commercials,
I
right?
had one
no.
commercial each break.
No,
Yeah,
I had
same.
multiple.
Well, you should have watched it when I did.
Yeah,
Damn.
what did you do to Tubi, Katie? Like, I
Well-
only saw one commercial every, 30 minutes.
To be fair, I wonder if how frequently you watch it matters, because I haven't watched it in a really long time.
I haven't either.
Either way, whatever. I gave this a 2.5. It was totally fine. It was fine. Some of the stuff, I will say, did shock me.
I mean, it's hard, because my whole thing when I was watching it is I had the same thing of, this is just, every 90s, like The Crush or, a Swim Fan, where it's just, but, not as much Swim Fan, because Swim Fan's, just all supposed to be high schoolers. But, very much the movie of, either a teacher falls in love with their student, or the student is, in love with the teacher and ruining their life. It's, it's
Yeah.
that story. It's nothing new, but, I was shocked that, anything coming from a Tubi original was, remotely
Watchable.
fun.
Yeah. That's fair.
So, Sheridan, what'd you think, sort of, overall?
I gotta say, I was expecting a little bit more of a train wreck.
I
This
think that was my thing, is I was surprised that it wasn't a fucking mess, that it was, actually put
Cohesive.
together, and I was like,
Yeah.
which probably
Yeah.
filtered my rating.
They attempt to give the characters some character, some depth, and it doesn't always work. We'll get into it, but the whole thing with Elysium's dad getting murdered is is so crazy to me. She, I could see how that could maybe be the catalyst for someone developing an attachment, an unhealthy attachment to a male figure in their life. That makes sense to me, but she went kind of crazy out of nowhere also.
Yeah.
And it was kind of confusing, so I wasn't really sure how to feel about her.
I
But
definitely
I think she did a good job.
I definitely think that there could have been more done with her sort of descent into obsession. It just
Yes.
happens all of a sudden. And there is they set up that they set it up in the beginning that you said, you can see where her seeing her dad killed would set up this sort of daddy issue thing that she
Right.
puts onto
The
this
DILF
neighbor.
problem.
But I feel like there was no setup to them fucking and then all of a sudden her being obsessed with him.
Right.
It's just her and her gay friend just being wow, this dude's hot, and then all of a sudden she's I'm gonna kill you and your wife because you won't love me.
Oh man, I have some opinions on that friend.
That we should have followed him throughout the movie instead.
Well, and okay, also I will say, first impression wise, it was very refreshing to see very few white people in this movie.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Tubi apparently has, I don't know, because I know they teamed up with Asylum for a bunch of their original horror movies,
Sure.
and I'm not sure who the company is. This could be wrong. I feel like I remember at some point someone mentioning that maybe they worked with they were working with BET in some form, because they have this entire cottage industry of just black made for black people dramas and shit. And they're all I see clips of them on Instagram all the time, and they all look unhinged. And after watching this, I was I'm watching every one of these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. I wasn't expecting it, and it was like kind of a welcome change. For like the only white guy in it was like the kind of unhinged, weird ex-boyfriend.
Oh my god, he was like clownish.
Yeah.
He looked like the fucking Joker from Gotham. Like he was scary
Yes,
looking.
he does. Exactly. I was thinking that same thing. I was like, is this Joker from Gotham?
I was mostly surprised because based on the kind of movies we cover, like anytime there is a gay character, they're like the most insanely like stereotypical, sort of like Tammy and the T-Rex, where
Absolutely.
like that dude rocks. He's the best part of that movie, but it's like clearly just like they were just like, I don't know, I've seen The Birdcage, so every gay character is that. And so like seeing just a normal dude who just kind of pops in once or twice to just be like, yeah, that dude's a DILF, goodbye. I was like, oh man, this guy rocks. I want to know his backstory.
I do appreciate that they use the term DILF multiple times in the movie. No one says deadly DILF, which as we alluded to, that's not what this is about.
I was thrown for a loop when I realized she was the problem and not him.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I
would argue he is still the problem, but he's not the deadly part.
Fine. Like, he probably... Well, I also, like, throughout a good portion of it, I was like, I don't know what grade this girl's supposed to be in. Is she a high schooler?
I knew that she was in college because they talk about her having a scholarship, but I really need to know how old... She I think, might be, like, a sophomore, so I don't know, 20...
I mean, if she's in college, she's at least of a legal age, so it isn't like it's like we're not into like, because a lot of these I feel like it's very Lolita, which is always terrible.
That's what I was gonna say. The thing that I appreciate about, like, throw out Swim Fan because they are both the same age and that's fine. Like, I appreciate that, like, even though obviously there is like an age gap here, they're trying to tell me that this man is 34 years old, which I absolutely do not believe. But even though she's like younger, obviously she's got to be in her 20s somewhere, which is better than what we normally see. And one of the things with The Crush, which was like one of my favorite movies growing up, as I became an adult, I'm like, this is really problematic because Alicia Silverstone is like 14 or 15 in the movie, which is literally vile. So I don't condone that part of it. So I appreciate that at least, like, even though there's definitely an age gap, like, at least they're adults. Like,
yeah,
right.
But
I probably missed a solid 15 minutes of this movie because Caitlin woke up about 20 minutes in and came out and started watching it with me, and then started asking
Who's that?
200 questions where I was just like, I have to explain all of what's happening. I was like, you've seen The Crush. It's The Crush, but like modern. Like, it's fine.
I will say,
but
I don't remember what the guy in The Crush looked like, so I don't know if he was a DILF or not.
It's Carrie, what's his last name? From The Princess Bride.
Oh, is it?
Always.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that movie since the 90s. So, I mean...
Oh, it's so good.
I don't know, in the 90s, I think he was probably...
Well, so the difference is, like, he has very much, like, a nerdy teacher look going on, whereas, like, this guy is just, like, gym guy.
I'm looking at the cast of The Crush now, and I wish the guy in that movie was Kurtwood Smith, who's also in that movie. I don't want him to be the person that like Alicia Silverstone was like in love with.
I want him to be the deadly DILF.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Put Kurtwood Smith in like fucking
everything.
Real, like, he's the real hot guy in the movie.
Yeah. Put Kurtwood Smith in more psychosexual thrillers.
I want
what
him,
the people crave.
I want him to be the Alicia Silverstone character.
Yes.
Could you imagine him trying to, like, seduce some DILF? Like,
yeah, but
who would the DILF be?
Clint Howard.
Oh my god.
They both have the exact same like head shape. It would be incredible.
I was gonna say Lance Hendrickson, but I think I like Clint Howard.
Lance Hendrickson at this point, well, Kurtwood Smith would probably be too, but I think Lance Hendrickson would have to be a G DILF. That dude's like in his
Deadly
late 70s.
Grand DILF.
Yeah.
he's not doing anything. Let's call him up.
Lance
Yeah,
Henriksen
yeah.
will show up for $400.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
and just be an
Absolutely.
absolute fucking lunatic on set. He'll be like,
Well,
I actually
A
don't.
menace.
He's a method. So
Yeah, he'll be like, I actually don't have grandkids, so I got someone pregnant So- to make sure I know what this is like.
That's gross.
I'll be on set in 20
was-
years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he rented a family, but getting someone pregnant is more method. Those would still only be your children, so then that person would have to have a child.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know.
It'll be 20 years.
Okay,
We're
gross.
doing the
I
long
hate
con
that.
here. Lance Henriksen will be like 90 something.
That's even better. That's actually the best outcome, I think.
All right. I don't think we need Kit. My thoughts on this absolute
No,
perfect
Kid
movie.
is loving the DILFs. He's
Yeah,
standing
banger.
there.
yeah.
Pro DILF.
Yeah, definitely pro.
Deadly or not.
So
Um,
we could dive into it, Katie.
speaking of
Delphin.
diving in, I do have a soda talk.
Oh God, what do you have now?
This is not new. It's been around for a while. It is Mountain Dew Frostbite.
It's Coca-Cola.
It is called Coke, Coca-Cola. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So I think this has been around for a while, but we got it because there's some kind of video game thing. I think this might be a Walmart exclusive though. So, but I have not tried it. So it's got.
Can you elaborate on what some kind of video game thing means?
It's.
Like what?
It's got like a thing where you redeem like the code for.
Oh, okay. An ad thing, tie-in
Yeah.
thing.
And Chris is doing some Final Fantasy thing that he wants or whatever. I said dive in though because there's a shark on the front. And
Great.
it's blue. It's very blue.
The hell's happening?
Oh.
Have you guys tried the Coke spiced or whatever?
Yes,
yeah,
we
it's brutal.
We did not like it.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I am.
I've
so,
not tried it, so-
I have come to the conclusion that literally the only one doing a different flavor that's at all been good has been Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I agree.
All of the Mountain Dews are like insanely too sweet. Where I have like 3 sips and I'm like, I'm out. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
Coke, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Every single one of those Cokes is garbage.
You didn't like the pixel flavored one?
I actually can't remember if I had a Pixel one.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I know there's
I
at
think
least
we did a soda talk on Pixel
There-
Coke,
there
and
might
everyone's
be.
like, "What the fuck is a Pixel supposed to taste like?"
There's at
Oh,
least-
it's just
Yeah.
like blueberry.
there's at least they all just sort of taste like a different like raspberry or blueberry.
Berry.
I liked the Starlight one.
You would.
We definitely did that. This is incredibly sweet. You know what it tastes like is those like ice pops that are in the plastic tube that are like literally ice. It tastes
It's
like the
just
blue one.
carbonated.
So if you just like drank the blue liquid, that's what it tastes like.
That's
But I will
I'm in.
say it is kind of refreshing, even though it's sweet. Whereas like some of the other ones I feel like are just like so sweet that I'm like, I can't drink. I don't know. This is okay. This is fine.
I got Aldi's brand cola.
Yeah, you like it.
It's $3 for a 12-pack, so I do like it.
I might try that. I will say I'm still dreaming about that creamy coconut Dr. Pepper. So
I gotta try that.
it's so
I gotta
good.
try it. Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. All right. Deadly Death.
Now Katie's all amped up on sugar.
That's not a ringing endorsement for the soda you just drank. You have like the shakes afterwards.
We're gonna find out
We have
next
3 of
week.
them.
Next week after this episode dropped, fucking Mountain Dew stock plummeted from Katie's reaction.
I hope so, to be honest. Just make more Baja Blast flavors, okay? I don't really need
Oh,
all
yeah.
those other, like, Jim Jams. Okay.
Didn't you like the gingerbread one or some shit? There was like one of them that I was like, this is the worst thing I've
No.
ever had. And you were like, this is actually okay.
Actually, that sounds like me. The fruitcake one was the one that I said tasted like vomit, and I don't really remember the gingerbread. Sounds like probably I
Maybe-
liked it.
Did they have the one that was like the red, white, and blue popsicle flavored
I didn't-
thing?
don't think I...
I
Well,
don't know.
did I get that?
They all tasted pretty much the same to me, which was bad. So
And that's my problem too. Like a lot of these flavors that are just like concepts, like Frostbite and whatever. They all like don't really like. That's why I think I like the Baja Blast ones, because they're like mango lemonade, and I taste it and I'm like, yes, this tastes like mango lemonade, delicious. The ones that are just like random avalanche, whatever, I'm just like, it's the same.
looking at you,
just
Gatorade.
like sweet. Yeah.
Sheridan, what's your favorite soda?
Yeah.
What's my favorite? Oh man. I don't know. I am like such a basic bitch. I love like cherry Coke, just like a good old cherry Coke. That's what I get at the movies, so it's probably my favorite.
Yeah, that works.
But I'm also what I like to do if a place has Sprite and Powerade, that's my combo. Like blue Powerade and Sprite is like usually my, places don't really have blue fucking Powerade anymore, but there's like a couple places around my house that still do it, so I like to do the Sprite Powerade combo.
I used to work at a grocery store that had like one of those
the vending machines.
One of those all the different fucking 9,000 flavor things that like you just got for free if you worked there, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I was drinking so much soda that I was like, I have to stop.
Yeah, I love those because you could do unique things. Like, I'm a Sprite girl. I'm a Diet Coke and Sprite girl. Like, those are my two, and I love Sprite. And you could get like peach Sprite or strawberry Sprite, and I was I'm literally living for this. They don't really do that much anymore, but...
All right, let's talk about this.
All right.
Okay, so this movie starts with two friends racing. Already bad. I don't like running. And
you said racing, and I immediately thought cars, and I was like, did I fucking miss something?
They were drag racing Tokyo. We're doing Tokyo Drift.
It would be so funny if they were jogging and just had that big ass fucking parachute behind them like a drag race.
They did. And I wrote Elysium because I thought her name was Elysium, like the movie Elysium, and I was like, that's interesting. Right. It's pronounced Elysium, so
which is absolutely silly.
It's still weird, but like we'll just see if I pronounce it correctly ever. We'll find out. So it's her and her friend Chris, right? And they're basically just did a race, and Chris is like, gotta go on a date, see ya. And they're like, hee. So she runs home, and it's nighttime now. She's running home by herself, and we see a man in a hoodie following her. This man is extremely bold because he follows her up to her house. She's standing at the door knocking for her dad to answer. The dad answers the door. The dude then attacks her. And I was like, what are you going to do to this whole situation already starts out just really insane because he's like grabbing her and he's like wrestling with her, and the dad's like, let her go. And then he does, and the guy goes running off, but Elysium's dad chases after the guy, which, sir, don't just let the guy go. Because then guess what? He gets shot and he dies.
Right in the neck.
Yep.
Terrible.
It's very funny that... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, like, he gets shot, and it's like, it looks like he got shot in the side, and then he's laying on the ground holding his neck, and I was I'm going too soon. Through the chest, out his neck.
Elysium, and then Elysium proceeds to, like, yell for someone to call an ambulance, and I'm like, I'm sure there's a phone in your pocket,
that shit
girl.
Drives me crazy when, like, especially in a movie now where someone just starts screaming. And I'm like, even if you don't have your phone, run in the house real quick. Like,
right, and like, my other thing with this situation is, like, I don't understand the motives of the dude, because if he was trying to, like, let's just say he was trying to, like, assault her, like, when the dad shows up, it's over, just leave, don't continue wrestling with her, and then the dad's gonna, like, catch him to, like, hold him until the cops come? I don't think so. But also, the guy could have just, like, showed his gun. He didn't have to just immediately start firing. Like, the whole thing is just insane. Yeah. This is the first, like, 2 minutes of the movie, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, I was like, Jesus, what's going on?
It starts at a 10.
We don't even know anybody's character yet, and already we're, like, watching people get shot.
And what's incredible is this is the most boring part of the movie.
Yeah, I desperately need get to the part that happens with the DILF's brother, because wow.
Kit and I are absolutely going to start a campaign to get Deadly DILF on like a fancy 4K Blu-ray release.
I'm begging. Do a double feature with Shark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
To the original double feature.
Okay, so that happens, you know, she's screaming, get help, whatever. Fades out. We get the title, which is very menacing. It's like, Deadly DILF. But then it says Deadly DILF. So it's like...
Yeah. Dude,
so,
the soundtrack is so aggressive. I just have to say, like, aggressive.
And like, okay, we'll get to a moment fast where we can talk about the soundtrack. So now we see that it's 6 months later. Elysium is like just started running by herself again, which I'm telling you, I would never. I almost don't even ever like leaving my house, but if I was actually attacked by somebody outside, I'm not running by myself ever again. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Like people shouldn't exercise.
Exactly. That's why I literally got a walking pad inside my house. So, you know.
You're going to get attacked by one of those cats.
I absolutely will, actually. I'm sure. So, she's running again, right? And her aunt is now living with her in the house. And they're kind of just like, you know, the aunt is also concerning to me because, like, she acts like she cares about what's going on with Elysium, but also is, like, never there, really.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
Confusing to me. She definitely seems like she's retired also because she's always like, I'm going to hit some tennis balls, and her, like, cute little stuff. I will say, I thought the outfits in this movie were incredibly cute. Like, everything that Elysium wears, I was like, adorable.
Me too. I thought the same thing. I was like, dang, her closet is fire. I want some of
Seriously.
that.
I don't know if I noticed a single outfit after I saw dude's abs, so...
Well, you know, DILFs will do that to you.
Yeah, that's all I can focus on after that.
Can I say one thing about this aunt character that is suspicious? This lady she's making a peanut butter jelly sandwich for Elysium. She puts the fucking peanut butter in the fridge.
Oh, no.
She puts the peanut butter and the jelly in the fridge, and I was like, that's gonna be a pain in the ass to get out of the jar later.
Yeah, I can't.
You cold peanut butter?
That's weird.
You can't spread that shit.
Maybe she just likes to eat it as like a big block.
Also, yum. Just a scoop of peanut butter, like an apple.
She just like does it where like essentially the bread just has to roll around the fucking chunk of peanut butter because it can't spread without ripping the bread apart.
Literally getting mad just thinking about this situation happening to me. Also, maybe this is controversial, but if you're an adult, eat the fucking crust. Like,
yes.
Yeah, dude. Seriously.
You eat the crust first, so that the entire middle best part you eat at the end.
I do love crust, but I'm saying just fucking eat it. Whatever. Kit's very quiet because he does not like crust.
Kit only eats the crust. He throws away the rest of it.
I feel ambivalent about crust.
Okay.
I mean,
I can take or leave
it's
crust.
the worst part of the bread, but I still eat it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love crust.
It depends. So I'm thinking just sort of like generic, whatever,
maybe like
loaf
wheat
of bread or whatever.
Well,
like I'm kind of out on the crust. I don't really care. I still eat it because I paid for it. But like,
well,
yeah.
I mean,
You paid
first
for
of
that
all,
crust.
I'm not a coward. I don't cut my sandwich in half.
Yeah,
I just
same.
go in on the whole thing.
Right. Exactly.
So you got to eat some of it.
Kit and I eat our
just
pizzas
balls
like that
it
too.
up in a ball and then shoves the whole thing in his mouth.
Don't even cut your pizza. Just eat it as a big fucking one piece.
Yeah. I don't have a single knife in my house.
There was a
Not
show.
a pizza cutter to be found.
There was a show Caitlin and I watched when we were like a dating long distance called Back with the Ex. It was this Australian fucking
I remember that.
reality show where people had to essentially go live with their ex for like 6 months to see if they could rekindle it or whatever. And this one dude on there owned one fork, one spoon, and one butter knife, and then just paper plates. And his house was filled with empty creatine containers. And I was like, this dude rocks. Like she came to live with him, and she was like, you don't have like any cooking utensils or anything? He's like, no, that's all I need. I was like, this dude gets it.
Everything right there.
This dude figured life out. All right, anyway.
disgusting.
If only we could all live such a life of minimalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the creatine for me, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a knife when you're eating creatine for every meal.
It's true. You actually
doesn't
really
even-
you don't need anything. Just open your mouth.
He doesn't have glasses to mix it in either. He just pours water into the creatine container and just
Yeah.
drinks it straight out of that.
Nah, he eats it
Yep.
raw. He knows how to get
Ugh,
the
Just
most
powder.
out of it.
gross. Okay. So they're talking. The aunt's like, "You didn't tell me where you were going," and Elysium's like, "Oh, I have to start running again sometime." And so then they just start chatting about the fact that a new family moved in next door, and the aunt says, "I just hope they're quiet," and I said, "LOL," because
Same.
it is
I
my
feel it.
yeah. There's no way they're going to be quiet. They never are. So, also, I don't know where they shot this, but the houses are fucking gorgeous too. Like
They're
the
rich as fuck. Like,
like extremely. The house that the family moves into with like the pool and the like, it's all just gorgeous.
I would bet you any amount of money every one of these to be original movies are shot in like porn rental houses. Like there's probably those rental houses in California that like just is
I was gonna
used
say
for
it
all
looked
of
like
these
California
movies.
to me. Yeah.
well,
Um,
and if I read correctly, I think the director is an adult film star,
Yeah, I think so.
or was. I don't know currently.
Like
is,
his
but-
actual directing stuff on Letterboxd is just a bunch of like shit like this and fucking Christmas movies. So he's clearly made it into that sort of Lifetime Hallmark like factory.
Okay.
knockoff. Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, now I want to know what adult movies he made. Oh my god!
Yeah,
he's
he
got a
might.
movie
Maybe
called
he had
Abercrombie's
some
Bitch.
friends, and he was like, "Hey, let me use your porn house for my DILF movie."
You know, somebody watched this movie and was like, "I recognize that house."
Definitely.
I keep
Yeah.
waiting for the like Rock of Love house to show up in one of these movies.
Oh my god.
I'm convinced
say-
Rock of Love was actually shot in a warehouse.
They reuse that house for every single Of Love show.
Oh, he's an actor in a movie called Knob Squad Volume 3 Size Matters.
That's gross.
All right.
I don't think so.
That's
Ooh,
incredible.
Lust Counseling, Leather Daddy Gangbang. I'm in.
Happy Pride.
Spicy Man Love.
Happy Pride.
Oh yeah.
Taste my manhood in your mouth. I'm not even trying with that one. Alright, next episode, Twinks for Cash, Volume 4.
Incredible.
Okay,
We've got
so-
our next theme month.
We've got the whole year, I think. Sounds like. House is gorgeous. We meet the new family. The wife's name is Tori. The husband's name is Rio, and the son is named Gunnar. And we also find out that Tori is Gunnar's stepmother, which only matters at all because like the mother is still in the picture, sort of. They are throwing up. Okay, essentially, like they're moving in. We also get introduced to Jake, who is Rio's brother, and Rio and his son Gunnar are not helping move in at all. They're just throwing a football, and it happens to go over the fence. Elysium brings it over, and she meets Jake, the uncle, just like in passing. Gunnar answers the door and is like, "Who are you?" And they like kind of chat or whatever, and then start throwing the ball. And this is when Rio comes out and is like, and they're like, "Whoa, no, no!" Like the music is insane. They just like look at each other. It's just like very jarring every single time. It's always like a slow-mo. Like, it literally is like Eyes on Fire Twilight. Like, zoom up to their eyes and they're, like, staring at each other. And then it's, like, sparkly. Like, literally, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right.
And this is the, like, them, whatever. So they kind of look at each other a little bit long. And again, like, I think that this actress, for me, like, I liked her. I think that she could have passed as, like, a high school student, truly. And so it's just like weird to me that like even though Tori comes out also, and they're talking to her about, like, you know, she's like, I live next door, here's the ball, whatever. She's telling them that she has a scholarship to the local college for running, and so, like, already they do know that she's a college student, but again, she's very young still compared to him. And Rio is like, oh, no way, no kidding, I ran there too. And I was like, okay, that's a weird coincidence. And then Tori also says that they own a gym, and so if Elysium needs anything, like, just come on over to the gym or whatever. This is when I wrote, Elysium's gross boyfriend pulls up, and she says she has to go. I'm, like, not even kidding. This guy was so scary looking, and kind of for no reason, because, like, he's stalking her, I think, but, like, it never is not a main plot point of the movie and never pans out to anything.
Yeah, it was a weird thing to add. Yeah.
I think you could have just had her be single and then, like, explored, like, the fucking whatever not drama, like, trauma and shit she has going on from, like, her dad being killed and, like, putting it onto this other dude, like, instead of even having this guy in the movie at all. It was literally for no reason.
Yeah.
So
that actor is in a movie called Oops, I Married a CEO by mistake.
Okay.
Damn, I hate when that happens.
God damn, there are some fucking incredible movie titles out here. He's also in Found by the Lichen King.
You know what would make this movie go up like a star and a half for me is if this movie was about Elysium trying to get with Tori.
100%. Deadly
Like,
Milk.
make this movie gay as fuck.
Yeah,
and I'll be so in. Like, there was something going on between Tori and Elysium in this movie. They almost made it, like, to me at least, it was almost like there was sexual tension between, like, all three parties. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was like, there could be something there, Tori. Like, come on, girl.
The polyamory movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's go.
Anyway.
I guarantee you there is a Tubi original that is essentially that.
Deadly threesome.
Even just like I guarantee you there's like a gay version of this movie on there somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is where Rio and Elysium share a loaded close-up slow-mo with music stare with her her twinkling eyelashes and whatnot, as they touch her water bottle at the same time. This scene is like 10 minutes long. And he says something dumb like, I don't know, like stay hydrated or whatever. And then they immediately lecture Gunnar about the fact that he just went to open the door for strangers. And I was like, fair, but...
This kid feels like he's too old for them to be treating him like he's, like, extra stupid. I don't know. It was, like, the way he's, like, portrayed in this, I was like, this kid playing him is too old to be acting like this.
Yeah, because, like... They're like, you know better than to open the door for strangers. Like, don't be doing that. And then Gunnar's like, well, also, really, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but the fact that the kid's name is Gunnar, I was like, okay, I see this here. Like, he says, are we safe here? And they're like, yeah, of course we're safe here, but, like, don't open the door for strangers or whatever. And then he's like, well, I overheard Mom say that there was a bad guy in the neighborhood. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, you can't tell him, like, oh, no, don't worry about it, it's fine, but also absolutely never answer the door. Also, you could have just gone to the door with him. He was standing in the same room with them. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So,
yeah, totally. I agree.
Like, Tori then makes fun of Rio for kind of, like, flirting or, like, saying that dorky thing about staying hydrated to Elysium or whatever. And so that's that. At some point later, Rio goes outside to fix an outdoor shower that's by their pool, and this is where Elysium looks over the, like, what are those called? Brick fence things to, like,
called a fence.
To, like, so he's like fixing the shower but standing directly in front of it, so when it turns on, it starts, like, spraying directly on him, and then there's like this whole shoot of him with like his wet t-shirt, and then he like takes his t-shirt off and he's like rubbing his muscles and stuff, and I was
Dude.
like sir?
It's the only scene in this movie I remember.
Insane. So
Yeah.
she's like watching, right? And like he literally like slow-mo takes off his shirt too and is like just soaping himself up, but like no soap because he's standing outside, you know? And her friend Chris, who is the one that she was racing with earlier, scares her and is like, "What are you doing?" And like looks up over and sees Rio, and this is when he's like, "That guy's a DILF," and like kind of jokes with her about it or whatever.
Gotta make sure all of the
and-
the women watching this that don't know what DILF means get it explained to them.
Right. Fair.
And they're not even making an attempt to like be to hide. They're just like sticking their heads over the wall,
Yeah, right.
like, looking.
like in the direction that he's standing to, and they're being like,
Yeah.
like, yeah. Then cut to later that night where Elysium and Tori are having some wine and talking about the fact that the gym's social media pages suck, and she's like, well, I can help you with that, whatever. And then Tori says, like, hey, why don't you come to the gym? Like, I'll put your name. You can come in for free, like, whenever you want. She picks up Tori's phone when she goes inside for more wine, but, like, I don't actually know what she was doing with it.
I don't
Like,
either. I was gonna ask you guys if you caught something that I didn't, because I didn't see anything happen with that.
This is
I
around
didn't
the
either.
time that I was explaining to Caitlin what happened before, so I missed that.
She like picks up her phone and looks at it like sneakily and then just sets it back down. So I like really don't know. I'm not sure.
Huh.
Yeah, who knows? Like maybe she was supposed to be getting his phone number. I have no idea.
Looking
So
for
Yeah.
nudes.
I actually that thought did cross my mind too, but I don't know. Who knows? Okay, that night, Elysium has a nightmare about her dead father, and in the dream, Rio was the one that was, like, in the hoodie attacking her. And if that just isn't a premonition, I don't know what is. That she just really completely ignores.
Yeah, it seems like a sign
yeah.
you should pay attention to.
Then the next day, she's on campus, and suddenly Rio shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm still working on my bachelor's, and I'm taking this business class. This is when we find out that he's claiming to be 34 years old. I'm not sure.
I think they're all relatively age appropriate. I can't find, like, I tried to look up to see if, like, IMDb had his age or anything like that, and I couldn't find anything, but, like, they all seem relatively, yeah, he's 38 years old. As, like,
Well-
right now, so when, I don't remember if this was last year or not.
2023.
Yeah, so, like,
Yeah.
he's age appropriate.
I disagree. Anyway.
Okay.
That is not my opinion. So, yeah, so he is taking, like, a same class as her or whatever for what, because they've kind of, like, made it. They cannot convince me that any of this is Tori's fault, because we get to a point in the movie where he is, like, losing his mind because Tori is treating him like a baby and gives him an allowance with a credit card. It's, first of all, it's the money that she's made, right? And
Oh my
she's, like,
God.
trying to run a business.
I
But, like-
wish I could fucking have that life of somebody just been like, here's a credit card with your allowance. Don't work.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And but like so they're trying to like I don't know why I brought this up actually. Why did I bring it up?
We'll talk about the allowance?
I don't know. I'm not really sure why I brought that up. I'm just saying it right now.
I think-
You cannot go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's just you're trying to point out that they're trying to like pin this whole avalanche like it's based on something that she did.
Yeah, like
Right.
Right. Like-
She pushed him to have an affair
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
Right.
absolutely.
Which is
not.
dumb.
like there's a bunch of shit where like
Oh, I know.
go ahead
I know why.
before you lose it.
It's because when Tori was talking to Elysium about the gym, Elysium was like, "Oh, so you guys run the gym together?" And Tori was like, I mean, we own it together, but like not really. Like I'm pretty much doing everything. And like there's all these like throughout the movie, and I left some of them out because again, you can't convince me Tori did anything wrong. She's like they're like planting these little seeds or whatever, and so like essentially he is taking the business class because he's trying to help out more with their business because like he obviously doesn't know shit, right? And so like that's the reason that he's trying to say that he's like back in college now.
Well, there's a bunch of
So,
shit
yeah.
they do where they like you could tell they are trying to make it seem like Tori is like driving him to this and like treats him like shit. And I'm like, no, she's literally like helping him get his fucking go to school. She's got him a job. She gives him a fucking allowance. Like,
She's amazing
yeah.
to his child. She cares about the child more than he does. Like Tori.
See, and that's how they always do it, right? In all these movies, it's like the dude, because there has to be a reason why you would. He has to have a reason to cheat, but also you have to have your family be sympathetic. So like the stepmom is like, his wife is like so pretty and she's good with the kid and like she's starting a business and like so like, but you know, she treats him like a baby and so he's like feels emasculated or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that is just so, but like we don't feel any, like I don't feel any sympathy for any of these characters ever.
No.
So it's just funny to me how like they try to use this like emasculating angle to like give him some sort of I don't know, like you could understand this, right? Like no, like no,
like
pretty much
absolutely,
never.
I don't.
We all know bitches be taking care of you, so you have to cheat.
Right, like
Right.
she is like she seems like a gem of a wife to me. Like
Yeah.
what? So anyways, like he's going back to finish getting his bachelor's or whatever, and so basically they're just like talking. And this is when you find out that, like, essentially, originally he had to drop out of college because his mom got sick. And then after that, his ex-wife ended up getting pregnant with Gunnar. So he just, like, never got to go back to school. And she's like, oh, and you're a nice guy underneath all those looks or some shit. And I'm like, absolutely, he's not a nice guy. Like, please. But anyways, he's like, you're one to talk. And I was like, this is disgusting. Anyway, so, like...
Yeah.
They're like, hee, let's see if you still have what it takes. And they race literally like, I don't know, 12 feet down a hallway. And then they're like, hee, I won, no, I. And they're like touching each other and like pushing each other, like, you know, touching and drinking water at the same time and making eye contact. They're like slow-mo flirting with each other.
If you drink water at the same time, you know it's about to go down.
It is on.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're like touching, like hee, and Chris pops out of a doorway. It's just like, hey, what's up? And,
Dude,
and they're like,
so
I'm like, what's up with this guy? He just pops up.
he's just like, hey,
love
what's
it.
going on here? And she's like, nothing. He's like, all right, see you later. So
Literally.
So then later that night, Elysium goes over to their house because she's going to babysit Gunnar while Tori and Rio go out, I guess. And so she's like, just like chill here because Gunnar's mom is going to come pick him up at 8:30. Like I left a key out front. And Elysium's like, oh my God, don't leave a key out there. There was a home invasion. And I was like, are you referring
girl,
to
he
when
did
your
not
dad
get
got
into your
shot?
home.
Because that's not a home
Yeah.
invasion, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay.
And so Tori is like, oh my gosh, you know, this is a mistake, but she thinks that Elysium is genuinely her friend and is like, oh, okay, like, no problem, I'll give you the code to our house, which ends up being a really bad mistake, but, like, I don't know. She just was like trying to look out for her family by not leaving a key out or whatever. But now Elysium can come and go as she pleases, and she sure does. For some reason, while they're like waiting for Gunnar's mom to show up, Gunnar shows Elysium his dad's gun.
He's like, I have a surprise for you. Close your eyes.
Like, first of all, I know that this child is not well adjusted, though, even though Tori is a great mom, and his mom seems like she's good too. He tries to scare her with like a toy spider first, and that doesn't work, so then he's like, I'm gonna show you a surprise, and it's a fucking gun.
I'm taking this to 100.
I'm sorry, I'm calling the police on that child if he's showing you a gun. Also, why does your child know where the key is? Like, maybe hide it better? So
kids always know.
Alicia, like, freaks out, of course, because she just saw her dad get shot like 6 months earlier, and is like, "Oh my god,
I was gonna ask, do they say the amount of time?
Yeah, 6 months.
Did they? Okay, I missed that.
Yeah. But like, it's weird to me because for most of the movie, she kind of acts like that didn't happen, except for like the one time she like confesses about it. Yeah, like whatever. So she freaks out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, am I in trouble?" And she's like, "No, like that's not a toy. We're not going to play with it. Let's go downstairs and do Rock'em Sock'em Robots instead." So they do that.
Next to the pool, by the way.
Yeah, seems like a good idea. Tori, Gunner's mom comes, and there's like kind of like just an interaction where she seems like hostile at first, but then is like, "Oh, you're a good kid," whatever. So I think they're just trying to show that like everybody is fooled by Elysium's like act of her being like a nice girl next door or whatever. So Tori, now this is like the big scene, right? There's been like kind of a few things throughout the movie where Tori has been like, you know, expecting more of Rio that he just doesn't seem to care for. And then there's been like scenes with Rio and his brother Jake where he's like complaining about Tori, whatever. This is the big one because Tori is going out of town for a work trip, and she's like, "Make sure you balance the checks, like do this, do that, make the schedule." And he's like, and like gives her an attitude about her saying like, "These are the things I would like you to do."
Just the bare minimum that you can do while you're not employed.
Because he seems like he mostly just like shows up to the gym to work out. Like he's always in workout out, like, you know, whatever. And like Tori has said in confidence, not in front of him, right, that he doesn't really help out, and he should know he doesn't. So she's like, "Can you please just do these two things while I'm gone?" He is already freaking out about it. Then this is when she gives him a debit card that was like, "Here's your new debit card." And he was like, "What do I need a debit card for?" And she says, "I want to keep the money for the business separate until I'm sure it's stable and off the ground. So here's
smart
money that you can spend."
Reasonable.
Right? Here's the money you can spend on whatever. And he is just like,
I mean,
she's like,
incensed
I
about it.
don't give a fuck what you spend it on. Just here's what you can spend.
He's got to cheat. I'm on his side. He's got to cheat now.
Right? Like, what a bitch.
How dare she?
He takes the card home and like throws it across the room.
He immediately orders pizza with it, and then throws it.
I'm like so stoked. Like, fuck yeah,
too.
I'm going home to have pizza. What?
Like, also, I just want to know. Well, okay, we'll get to it. So he's just like literally seething over this information, and after they leave like the gym, there's like a sound that's like vroom, and it shows that Elysium was sitting there working out the entire time, and she heard the conversation, so she knows it's on. Exactly, that was my reaction. I gasped. So that night, like Rio is on the phone talking to his brother Jake, and he's like, "Oh, are you coming over to watch the game?" And he's like, "No, sorry, I can't make it." And he's like, "Oh man," he's like belligerent off of 4 beers, first of all, and he's like, "I ordered pizza." I mean, okay, fair. He seems like he's kind of a drinker though, so 4 Bud Lights, I don't know, maybe chill out. But he's like, "I ordered pizza on Mom's card," and like throws it, and Jake's like, "What are you talking about?" And he just, like, literally the fact that his brother can't come over to watch this whatever game with him sends him over the edge. He's, like, holding his head in frustration. He's like, "Oh, my life sucks." And I'm like, bro.
You live in a fucking mansion. Calm down.
Seriously.
It's so funny because that football game is, like, totally fake, too. Like, they don't show the TV. You just, like, hear this overdubbed, like, "And he's going up to the far side," like, just, like, really random, like, football phrases.
I
Yeah.
think they call it Monday Light Football too.
Hell
Oh,
Yeah, Monday
perfect.
Light.
Love it. I'm in for some Monday
Love
Light
it.
and Bud Light. He's just like really pushed over the edge by how frustrating his life is at this point, right? And then it shows Elysium out for a run. She's running around, and we see a guy in a hoodie following her, and we're like, oh, this guy is like really out to get her or whatever, right? So she's like freaking out. Need I remind you that like she lives next door to Rio, but instead of just like going to her house, she goes to his door and is like banging on it.
Well, like if I guess understandable if it's like she's alone, like her aunt or whoever the fuck she's living with isn't
Her
there.
aunt's on like a fucking vacation again.
Yeah, she's probably
while
on a fucking cruise.
That's fair. So she's like banging on the door like help me. He answers and she's like I'm being followed. And Rio's like what?
I got
and
my own problems. I can't invite my brother over.
My brother, yeah, right. My wife is being mean to me also. So she's
She
like
only
I'm being
gave
followed.
me $7,000 this month.
Right. I needed 10,000, okay? I'm trying to buy a new Xbox, so I'm just really mad about it. She's like, this guy's following me. They look on the street, and it turns out to be her weird-ass ex-boyfriend who, like, flips his hood back and just, like, looks at her. And so my question is, what's going on with that? Because then we never see him again. Like, was he actually stalking her, or...
He just kept walking. He never stopped.
He also, like, looked at her like she was fucking crazy. So I'm like... What's the situation?
What if he was dating someone and she fucked that person, and then it's like the exact same plot to Deadly DILF had just happened to that guy,
This is my
and now he's running away.
That's probably
my
what happened,
theory.
honestly.
He's fucking Tori. And showed up and was like, oh wait, and just like kept
she's
going.
not here.
She's like,
Yeah,
better go to the
maybe.
gym.
My theory is that he's his name is Damien, by the way.
Yeah, also, yeah.
Yeah.
Spelled like demon.
He's like Elysium's little Renfield. She's like, okay, you gotta fucking make it look like you're chasing me, and I'm gonna be real scared, and I'm gonna run into this house, like, and you're just gonna do that. And he's like, all right, I love you, or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know, man. He gave her like a look that was like, I did good, right, or something. Like, I've had a suspicion that they were like in cahoots or something.
I need a sequel to this movie where it is revealed that she's a vampire.
I love it.
And
Yes.
Then I would understand, to be honest. I'd be on the DILF side again. But yeah, but for all intents and purposes, like, what you're talking about too is that, like, the wife is the catch in this. She's successful, she's smart, she's kind.
Definitely.
This dude's like a fucking loser. Like, I don't know.
He sucks.
Okay. He does suck.
He sucks.
Yeah, but he's got abs.
I guess. Okay, so yeah, so it's revealed that it's her weird ex-boyfriend from Gotham, and he just is kind of like, okay, he keeps walking. So she's like, can I please come inside? So, also the pizza never comes.
Sad.
Oops.
I don't know. Like, Uber Eats is slow as fuck, so, like, I'm assuming it was just took 2.5 hours for his fucking pizza to get there.
So they go inside, and this is when she finally tells Rio about, like, what happened with her dad, and, she's like, and of course he's like, oh, that's terrible, I'm sorry, let me pour you some whiskey, you 20-year-old girl, and, she's like, I guess I just got confused, like, I don't know, but my aunt's away, I'm alone for the night, so... Because he's like, I'll walk you home, like, I'm sorry that you went through that and everything, like, let me walk you home. And she's like, can I just stay here? Then she says, would Tori mind? And that sends him over the edge, because he's like, I don't have to ask Tori's permission. And I'm like, well, she is your wife. And I feel like that's probably information she would like to know, right? Seems real
Even just literally being like, hey, in a text message, this was the issue, she's sleeping on the couch. Like, anything.
No, but then he offers her his bed. He's
Weird.
like, "Oh, you sleep in my bed. I'll sleep on the couch." Like,
You sleep
no.
with Tori, which is where this movie should have gone.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sending you to Chicago to sleep with Tori instead.
Yeah.
Because like
Here's a bus ticket.
Need us to remind you that he has a son and the son's not there. So Tori could have easily slept in the son's bedroom or on the couch. He could sleep in the bed. He's terrible, right? So he's like, I'll sleep on the couch. You can sleep in my bed. He says, my bed, not
Yeah, that was weird. Not
my
our
marital bed.
Yeah.
The bed, whatever. And so they go upstairs, which is also like very strange to me because like she doesn't have any of her. Anytime this stuff happens in movies, I always think of for myself how awkward that would be. She just came back from a run. She's going, well, they've been awake, like drinking or whatever, but she's gonna go to bed. She doesn't have her toothpaste. She doesn't have anything to wash her face, like nothing. She's gonna go straight to bed. That's psycho behavior, if you ask me. She gets up there and she's like, "Can you just stay here until I fall asleep?" And then he says, "I don't know if I trust myself to do that right now."
And then
Weird.
I threw up everywhere.
And-
like, this is
Like-
real inconvenient. I'm trying to watch Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
Please go to sleep.
I've missed the whole game. It's past your bedtime. She says, "Please stay," and he says he's married, and she said, "I won't tell." Well, then they do it. It's like slow-mo.
The
I also
worst.
thought
This could have been so much better and
Yeah.
not terrible.
It was surprisingly tame.
It was
Yeah.
very tame. And I also, like, you know, every time it cuts away to commercial, it comes back and it says, like, what the rating is. This movie was rated, like, R. And I was like, for what? Because they say fuck a few times? Like, that seemed so strange
They showed
to
a
me.
gun like 3 times.
Is that really a
I
thing,
don't know,
though?
probably. I had, like, my biggest issue watching this movie with the commercial breaks is I was like, this was made specifically for Tubi. Why was
Yeah.
this not made for better commercial placement?
For the commercial breaks? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But anyways, they do it, and it's, like, weird. Like, it's you know,
see,
whatever.
like, a muscly back and, like,
Yeah.
curtains. And then you're like, well,
Yep.
they definitely had sex.
Yeah, you see
You
her...
don't even really see them kiss.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, no, they don't. She's
weird.
like, "I won't tell," and she, like, unbuttons his shirt, and then it's all, like, sparkly close-ups again, and it's like, whoa, 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 like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
exactly.
You could tell by the music that it was really steamy. It was great.
Kit,
So,
isn't there a bit in, like, it has to be one of the Lethal Weapon Always Sunny episodes where they do a sex scene like this, where, like, it's, like, flowy curtains in the background of candles and shit. And it's, like,
I think it's whenever Frank's character is having sex.
it's, like, all I could think
because they
about.
didn't want to show anything. They didn't want to show Frank's naked body.
Rude. I didn't see Danny DeVito's dong. Danny DeVito hang dong in a movie.
no thanks. Okay, so the next day, he's, of course, like, she wakes up all happy because for some reason she assumes that they're in a relationship now.
Yeah.
And so she comes downstairs, she's like, "Hey!" And he's like, obviously, he's, like, making coffee, and he's like, "Listen, this was a mistake, this shouldn't have happened." Like, and she's like, he's like, "We're not in a relationship," or whatever, and she's basically just like, "You came on to me too, if you don't remember, and, like, you were consenting." And he's like, "I had too much to drink." And I'm like, "Listen, sorry, that is not an excuse, by the way,
Yeah.
for making those kinds of choices." And she was
I
like,
don't know.
"I wasn't
when was
that
the last
drunk."
time you had 4 Bud Lights?
I will, it has been a while. I will say that. And, like, the smallest splash of whiskey that essentially was just, like, inhaling a whiff of it. Like, was blackout, I'm sure. So she's, like, trying to argue with him about it, like, what are you talking about? Like, whatever. And he's just like, "I have to go."
You know what I kind of wish they did that I think would have made their relationship more interesting is if it was like a, what I would say is like single white female scenario where, like,
Ooh, yeah.
like the guy doesn't realize it's not, like, if like he would have been so drunk that he thought it was Tori, instead of it being like a purposeful thing.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Like if they just made it so like there was just more like scheming and purposeful acts on her part.
Before, right, leading up to. Yeah. Because up until now, it's just been like them batting eyelashes at each other. And
right. Well, and you don't really see, this is my, okay, so like this scene would be so much more powerful if we could see her kind of going crazy, like being a little bit weird, like before this, because this is where she just short circuits.
Yeah,
she just like snaps.
Like it just happens, and all of a sudden the rest of the movie she's just like crazy and obsessed with him.
She's a psychopath, and I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't know, because also like I would sort of understand if like they don't. I don't know. It's just not developed enough, because like sometimes they'll add something like, oh, it was like her first time sleeping with somebody or whatever, and so like I could maybe understand how that would be construed toward, because here's the point, right? They don't really have that many interactions. Like it kind of seems to me like they're trying to imply that like it was like love at first sight for her, but not him. It's not portrayed that way, really, right? And then they have sex one time, and she's like, oh, yeah, we're in a relationship now. And he's obviously like, no, absolutely not. So he's like, I have to go. Like, this was a mistake. It can't happen again. And when he walks out, she just goes, Rio. Then it cuts to her being at practice, where she's talking to her friend Chris, and she confesses that she slept with Rio last night and says that he is her soulmate. Like, immediately. And I was like, to your point, where's that coming from? Like, she's like, we just have so much in common. Like, we both go to the same school and we both run. And I'm like,
I mean, not to harp on it. I get it. He's got those abs.
Yep. You need more. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is.
You can get more abs.
That is, I think, the
anyone can get abs.
Big flaw in the movie is it's just like, and like, you know, I know we've talked about it on some of like the sci-fi original movies where like it's just they do the barest minimum for a plot to get to the action. And so like it just,
I mean, that's fair,
and it's like, because they all like all of those movies they all have to hit that like hour and a half runtime, you know, whatever it is, like to do 2 hours on TV with the commercials. So it has to be like that specific runtime, and they need it to be like, you need to have those like specific like action points hit before every commercial break, shit like that. So like there's a formula to it, and like I don't think plot is a real necessity for a lot of these movies. It's just get to the exciting parts. But you have to have at least like a bare minimum of what like the characters are for people to care, and that's really like all they do. And it's just like, I do, like, again, like we've kind of all said, like I just wish there was like 5 or 10 more minutes in this that like showed that she was like going crazy for this dude, instead of it's just like, oh, they, I don't know, dry humped on the bed and now she's obsessed with him.
Yeah, because like, also, no offense, that guy was so easy. She came on to him one time,
literally.
And he was like,
oh, yeah,
forgot his fucking name,
drinks
right?
Drinks a Bud Light and he's ready to go.
Listen, Bud Light will do it too.
Well, they also, I think they also said, I can't remember if it was before that scene or like sometime later in the movie, that like he's cheated on Tori before.
You find out later, and that's like what really instilled to me that this guy is just like totally piece of trash. And like I knew it the whole time, but then you get to this point and I'm like, there's nothing, like, okay, yeah, whatever. So yeah, so Tori says this guy's my soulmate because we both know how to run fast.
Alicia
right?
in the movie said that, not Tori.
That's what I meant. And Chris is like, basically like, you're fucking crazy. Like, it was one time, chill out, right? And she, of course, doesn't listen to him. Again, that's just what I'm saying. Like, obviously, like, we do kind of address her trauma in kind of a throwaway line from the aunt. And it's like, she has these people in her life, but they're really doing the bare minimum for her, where they're just like I feel like the friend kind of egged her on a little bit in the beginning, and then once it happened, he was just like, wow, chill, girl, and then peaced out. And like, we don't really see him for the rest of the movie. And the aunt does the same thing. So I'm like, she just really, like, I don't agree with what she's doing, but she's like very obviously mentally unwell, and nobody in her life is like stepping up for her. So it's like, I don't know. For some reason, Elysium brings Rio a gift, which is like a bag of tequila. And Tori comes out and invites her, which is like interesting because she's like, it's your favorite tequila. I did not this entire movie see him drink tequila.
No.
He was like drinking
Bud Light. Piss
I
beers.
I guess it could have been gold tequila. I don't know anybody who just drinks tequila like neat though. That's weird.
I mean,
The Rock.
based on how fucked up this dude got on
The
like
Rock,
4
fair.
Bud Lights, I feel like he would die drinking tequila.
That's
Well,
what made
yeah.
him the Deadly DILF.
That's right.
Too much
the
tequila.
deadly DILF was actually tequila the whole time, by the way. So brings him the gift. Here's your favorite tequila, and Tori comes out and is like, "Oh, Elysium, like, do you want to stay for dinner? I'm making chicken parm." And Rio's like, "I didn't buy enough for 3 people." And I'm like, "So you
I only got
bought
one chicken.
You got 2 chicken fillets? Like, what, sir?" And then he just kind of like does that thing where he's like, she can't stay because she has practice, right? And so Elysium's like, okay, yeah. She starts to walk away, then she turns around and she goes, "Tori, I forgot to tell you something about Rio and I." And it does this great shot where like he's standing behind Tori and it like zooms in and the music's like, whoa, and it's like this man's life flashes before his fucking eyes. And the way that the scene was shot was like so dramatic and I loved it. It was like so scandalous, right? And then so because obviously he thinks she's gonna tell, right? But then she just goes, "We both got A's on our practice test." And
oh my fucking god.
and then he's like, oh, he's defecated his pants at this point, right? And so Elysium's just like, "See ya." And Tori, sweet angel that she is just like, "Oh my gosh, wow, good job," like encouraging
Dude.
him or whatever.
Okay, yeah, if I was Tori, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
I will
Like-
say, yeah, she seems a little naive because, like, obviously things are fucking weird. Well, she does say, this is when Tori has picked up on something that's going on here, right? Like, maybe it's the bottle of tequila that
Yeah.
she brought for no reason, but she's like, "Oh, Elysium has a crush on you, like, that's so cute, but, like, let her down easy because she's a really good girl." And then for some reason is like, I don't know, "Let me show you what you were looking at," or whatever, and then like makes out with him, and I was like, ugh, awkward.
Yeah.
Then there's like just like these random scenes where like we start to see Elysium like stalking him, like showing, like changing her schedule so she shows up in one of his classes. Now she's working at the front desk at the gym. Finally, there's a scene between Rio and Jake where he confesses to having he doesn't say exactly what happened. He just confesses to like having an affair. And this is when Jake like freaks out. He's like, "What is your fucking problem? I can't believe you did this again." So this is obviously where we find out that like he cheated on his ex, the mother of his child, with some random
With
person.
Tori.
That's right.
Yeah.
We find that out later.
Well,
So-
what the fuck did she expect then?
Okay. So he's like, we don't know any of that information yet right now, right? We're just like literally finding out that this happened before, and he's like, "I don't know, she's being crazy." And Jake is basically like, "You literally have a perfect life. Like, I don't understand what your fucking problem is." And he's like, "Oh, I don't have a job." And so he's,
That's literally what he sounds like. Like, honestly.
So Jake is like, "You need to like cut, like, did you end it?" And he's like, "Well, I tried, but she's not taking no for an answer." And Jake's like, "You just fucking be really for real with her and like end it." So being the upstanding gentleman that he is, he tries to pay her off and be like, "Here's the money that you would be making from the front desk at the gym. I don't want you to be around here. Go away. Leave me alone." And she's literally just like, "I don't need your money." She says, "I don't need your money. I mean Tori's money." Fucking got him.
Damn.
And she said,
Burn.
"And you're not going to get rid of me just because I'm not convenient anymore." And I was like, burn. Because yes, but also I don't agree with what she's doing, but like he should be punished, right? I agree.
Yeah.
So this is when the aunt sees that Elysium has been like taking notes to study or whatever, and she's written, I couldn't actually see what else it said. It said his name, Rio. You know, like girls do, scribble their crushes' names in their notes or whatever. And the aunt sees it, but decides not to say anything.
Yeah, instead she says things like, ocean water would be good for your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
She's not wrong.
That's good advice.
Those are lines that are uttered in this movie.
Yes.
She gets it. She knows.
She side-eyes the notebook a few times and is like, yeah, come to strain out your brain with the ocean water or whatever. And
at some point I'm going to tell somebody that just out of nowhere. As like,
in like the most serious conversation ever. They're going to be like, huh? She is like, I don't really want to go, I'm studying. She's also not studying. She's standing on the balcony staring at Rio's house. It's normal,
Yeah,
I
she's
guess.
studying how she's going to break in
Literally.
16 times in the next 50 minutes.
And the aunt is just like, all right, see ya. Like, great. Okay, great guardianship going on here. Elysium, so the aunt leaves to go roll around in the sand. Elysium immediately breaks into their house. It is breaking in, but Tori gave her the code, so she just beep, 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 goes in, right?
Okay. Spoilers for the next fucking 40 minutes or whatever. But, like, you'd think after she broke in the first time and, like, fucked with stuff, he would just change the code, right? Like, figure something out to where she's not going and doing,
spraying her perfume on their bed.
Well, I was thinking, like, putting a gun in the kid's toy box, but yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, agree. And I'm wondering,
much more egregious things.
He must, first of all, at no point does anybody seem to notice that their house is that somebody's coming into their house. So I guess they don't know,
lot.
but like
a whole lot.
A lot. But also, my other question is I guess like maybe if you have an alarm and somebody turns it off, like comes in your house and turns it off, you're not like alerted to the fact that it went off at all or whatever. But I'm just feeling like if I'm him and she'd been in my house, maybe I would take some precautions, like a security camera or changing the password. Like she doesn't need access to their house. I don't know why Tori gave, I guess because
she's babysitting
to lock the
at
door.
some point. So like
she
get
babysits
it, but
once though.
Well, that we see.
Anyway, I'm just saying, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, she goes in their house. This time she sprays her perfume on the bed. And there's like shots of her like stalking him around campus, and he sees her talking to like another, I was gonna say coworker, another like student, classmate. He sees her talking to a classmate. This makes her literally irate. Because she finds out that he has transferred out of her business class, right? Like, he's just doing everything he can to, like, distance himself. She loses her goddamn mind and destroys his car.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a 10-minute montage.
It is. She takes her running shoes out of her car and, like, scrapes it alongside, like, literally just scratches up the outside of his car. And I was like, damn, that's cold. She continues. She, like, I don't even know what she's using. A tire iron, maybe. She, like, smashes in the window. She busts off the side mirror. She, like, destroys this fucking car. And she's just, like, screaming the whole time. And I was like, how is nobody alerted to this? There's, like, four cars.
No one outside.
Like, like, there's no way that's not on camera. Like, and he just treats it like, well, what can I do?
So I think, so she leaves, right? She destroys his car. He goes to the car and sees that it's fucked up. Immediately knows it's her, right? Oh my God. Goes to confront her at her house about having destroyed his car, and the aunt answers and is like, what seems to be the problem? And he's like, your niece vandalized my car, and like she needs to answer for it. And the aunt is like, is this a conversation we should go over to your house and include your wife in? And I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, he is technically the older adult here, and like, I don't know. I just have a lot of issues with the way the aunt handles this.
I think the aunt is like trying to get Elysium to get a sugar daddy, and it's just pushing it. Like, yeah, go do it. Go fuck that dude. He
Yeah.
seems like he's got money, not
Yeah.
knowing that
She's like,
he's not the breadwinner in that house.
right. She's like, I don't want to be your guardian anymore. Like, I'd really love to move. So can you just like figure
I
it
am
out?
going to go live on a
Get outta
cruise ship for the rest of my life, so you gotta figure something out.
So, like, she's like, should we involve your wife in this conversation? Like a true B. And he's like, that's besides the point. Like, she vandalized my property. Like, it doesn't really matter. And he's just like, whatever. And he leaves. She then confronts Elysium about it and, like, immediately knows what happened, right? She's like, when did this happen? Elysium says, a week ago. She said, how many times? And Elysium says, just the one time. And that's when the aunt says, once is enough to drive you crazy. Like,
Thanks, Grandma.
and especially if he's as drunk as he, right, especially if he's like as drunk as he's saying it is, like, it couldn't have been really mind altering.
I
I
need a prequel that gives me all of the backstory about this aunt.
Yeah, right.
Nathan wants a prequel and a sequel.
I need to, yes,
Deadly DILF.
please. I need
Deadly DILF
yes,
trilogy.
just Deadly DILF cinematic universe. I need it.
Yeah. The DDCU.
Like,
I love it.
every character in this movie, I'm just like, I need more information about what the fuck is going on with you, because you
Why?
are weird.
Why are you this way?
Like, seriously. So, so she's like, oh, this made you crazy. That made you crazy, whatever. This is what the aunt implies that, like, this is just a trauma response for Elysium, like, losing her dad suddenly the way that she did. She hasn't been grieving or coping with it long enough, and so she's imprinted these, like, obsessive feelings on this, like, random guy next door or whatever. And her advice is just give him some space. See ya. And I was like, I think
He'll come back.
I think maybe pay a little bit more attention to her in this moment, but it's fine. So later that night, Tori and Rio are arguing about the vandalism of his car because she wants to report it to the police and get the insurance involved to get the car fixed. And
Like a normal person.
Right.
Yep.
And this is like a full-blown baby conversation with him because he's like, we don't even know who it was. And like the whole thing is really just that, like, he doesn't want Tori to find out that it was Elysium, and that's the reason that he said, oh yeah, there are cameras, but it's going to take them hours and hours to go through the footage, so it's not going to happen overnight. And
This is the only point where she actually treats him like a child, and he 100% deserved to be treated like a child during it.
Yep.
And so he's like all butthurt because she's like, I literally just can't comprehend why you don't want to call the police regardless.
Why are you being dumb about this?
And so they like sit down to dinner or whatever, and he's like, oh, I don't want to argue about this. And she's like, we're not really arguing. I'm just like confused as to why you're being this
weird.
way or whatever. And then they're like basically showing up for a double date with Jake, and Tori's kind of like saying that she's like kind of tired of doing these double dates because they've like made it seem that Jake like dates around or whatever, which is fine. But so he shows up first and is like, oh, she's like, how was the movie? And he's like, oh, it was great. I really like her, whatever. And can you guess who shows up as Jake's date?
Beyonce.
I'm gonna say Aunt Kendra, the aunt.
That would have been
That
incredible.
would have been the greatest twist
I'm
ever.
pretty sure it was the guy with the gun from the beginning of the movie.
The hoodie guy shows up as
hoodie
Jake's
guy.
date. I love it.
Still with a gun.
Yeah.
All good options. It's just Elysium though, which
lame.
is weird to me because again, I don't know. It just seems very strange to me. But whatever. Jake seems to be actually into her, right? And this is when like, oh, and of course Tori's like, oh hey girl, good to see you. Love your outfit. And they're just like being girly girls, right? Well, obviously we know Elysium is like being fake about it, but like, I guess that Rio takes out his phone to like text her like, what the fuck are you doing here? And Tori's like, could you please put your phone away? Like, we're having dinner or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm not a fucking baby. He gets all butthurt about it. And like, Elysium kind of like makes a joke. I can't remember what she says, but it's like,
I'm sure it was hilarious.
It was, yeah. I can't remember what she said, but it was probably really good, and he probably
Yeah.
deserved it.
he's like, definitely. And he's like, ugh, and he like gets up and goes to the bathroom or
What
whatever.
if she
But then
pulled out a mallet and a watermelon, and that was her joke? Is she just pulled a Gallagher and smashed a watermelon on the table?
I would have liked it. Because I think it would have made him mad.
Just watermelon sprayed all over him.
Yep. Then it just like hard cuts to Jake and Elysium back at his apartment, and he's like, just like trying to make small talk. He gives her wine, and she's like, I don't really like wine, and I was like, okay, what's that about? Whatever. She immediately comes on to him and like starts to like kissing him, and he's kind of like, hey, like slow down, I'm not like really ready to be doing this. But she's like pressuring him into like sleeping with her. They start making out. She accidentally calls him Rio, and of course Jake.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right. He like freaks out, and he's like, what did you just call me? Why are you thinking about my brother? And she's like, I'm not thinking about him, he's an asshole. And then nobody talks like that in the movie, but he figures out that it was her.
Just
Absolutely.
to put your dialogue
I'm
in it.
I'm down. He figures out that it was her that Rio had the affair with, and he's essentially just like, why are you trying to hook up with me now? Like, that's fucked up. Get out of my fucking house. So she's like, and she like flicks him off and leaves or whatever. And I was like, I'm sorry. I understand you have trauma, but you're not in the right here. There's a small scene where Jake and Rio talk about it, and Jake's like, you need to figure your shit out, like, for real, right? Okay. Then they're back at home, and Rio is like trying to like tell Tori that they need to go away on a vacation or something, when Gunner's mom comes and is like, hey, I'm here to pick him up. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's not here. And she's like, well, he wasn't at school. Where the fuck is he? There's this weird long montage of them like driving around and looking for Gunner and just like screaming and like flailing their heads around and shit. And I was like, what's going on here?
This fucking scene is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like all of them separately like, blah!
but they're all screaming and freaking out, and I'm like, you have a fucking babysitter. Like, none of you are going to even like attempt to call her.
Yeah.
Just to even check, like, hey, have you seen the kid that you babysit 3 times a fucking week today?
Nope.
Well, and also the mom is like, oh, I went to the school to pick him up, but he wasn't there, so I just came here. And it's
you
like,
wouldn't have called
would you not
him?
ask someone?
Yeah, anything.
Like,
Literally
would you
anything.
not be like, hey, Gunner's teacher, like, where did he go? You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah, who picked him up?
you
Did
have
you
to
see?
like sign kids out of school. You can't just be like, oh, this one's mine, bye.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This was in the
I'll take that
the
one.
free and wild days of 2023. So
But also, this goes back to a point that we make a lot, where this is literally modern times with cell phones. People have cell phones in the movie. They use cell phones. Like, all of the, but like nobody thinks to call anybody ever except the police immediately. So it's like, what even? I don't know. It just seems very crazy to me. So they're like freaking out, running around during the montage. These are like the scenes of it that reminded me of Swim Fan, like, you know, those scenes where he's like Ben's like freaking out and his face is all like blah, 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 like he's in like a fucking haunted house situation or whatever. That's like what this reminded me of, but no blue filter. So it's like nighttime now. Gunner and Elysium come inside like hee happy. He's got like a big fucking stuffed animal from the fair, and they're again. Her outfit is so cute. It was like a split color, like denim jacket and pants, and it was like pink on one side and green on the other, but like the pants and the top were opposite. And I was like, whoever did the wardrobe for this, just so cute.
so
everyone's
cute. That was my favorite outfit.
Everyone's
I loved
absolutely
it.
just wearing their own clothes because this movie cost $400,000 to make, which
I mean,
I
yeah,
assume
absolutely.
went to the rent the house.
Yeah, I mean, actually so fair. But yeah, everything she was wearing I felt looked really flawless, like not forced at all, which I feel like sometimes in movies you can tell like that, whatever. Very cute. So, and also very cute for the fair. Love that for her. So she's like, hey, woohoo. And they're like, oh my God, where the hell have you been? We've been like,
Loca.
well,
You forgot
obviously we
Loca.
haven't been. Where the hell you been, Loca? I was going to say we've been calling you, but obviously nobody did. And she's like, oh, weird. Rio, don't you remember calling me and asking me to pick him up or whatever? And he's like, no, I absolutely didn't do that. And so she shows her phone to them being like, here's where you called me. And what actually it was the night that they went on the date, he was trying to call her to be like, what the fuck are you doing dating my brother, right? And so she twisted that to be like, you called me and asked me to pick him up, like, why would I just do that? And like, she plays all innocent, right? Of course. And so everybody believes her, and it's just like, you're fucking losing your mind, guy.
It drives me crazy, like, every fucking movie where I'm just like, literally, just tell the truth, and this movie could have been 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or just kill her. Kill her and then it's over with.
So
Be the
I
real
definitely-
deadly DILF you're supposed to be.
Right. I definitely thought that's what was going to end up happening, because the next scene is Rio buying something from Jake in a vial, and I thought it was poison, and I was like,
Same. I was
It
like,
was-
oh damn, this
I was like,
escalated.
right? Because he's like, just slip this in the water bottle. What we find out is that it's just like quote unquote performance enhancing drugs or whatever. There was like a scene earlier at practice where the coach was like, we're going to be doing drug testing or whatever.
But
I
Yeah.
knew that shit was gonna come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made such a big deal out of that scene. Like, okay, guys, drug test every week. I'm like, all right, that's coming back.
we don't like again. It's another thing where it's like, I want to know how we got this into her.
Yeah, because
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming at the gym, like he said, put it in her water bottle, but like wherever would he be that she's not paying attention to him? She's like literally stalking him, right? Makes no sense. I don't know.
Right.
Because it literally, from that scene, cuts to Elysium being brought into her coach's office, where the coach is like, hi, I have your results, you're on drugs, like you're fucking cut from the team. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, why would I risk my scholarship, being on the team? Like, why would I do that? Somebody is sabotaging me. And the coach is like, what the fuck are you even talking? Like, she's being true,
You don't understand.
right?
I fucked my neighbor who's married, and now
Right.
I'm trying to ruin
Right.
his life, and he's trying to get back at me. That's just a big misunderstanding.
Right.
Yeah.
She didn't say that, right? And the coach is like, who would be trying to do, like, who would do that? And she's like, I don't know. And she like throws something, and then she goes, sorry, and she leaves. And I was like, okay. So she's upset, right? Coach, whatever, doesn't believe her. Elysium goes to confront Rio about it. He immediately confesses to having drugged her, essentially. And she's basically just like, I can't believe you would do that to me. And he's like, yeah, I did it to make up for the shit you're doing to me. Again, you're supposed to be 34, sir. You're stooping to her level and playing her little sneaky games. I forgot to mention, during the montage of them looking for Gunnar, there is a scene of Tori noticing the perfume smell on the bed.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I did it. You need to back off from me, and you need to leave me alone. And she's just like, well, guess what else that test showed? I'm pregnant. Tell
Dun
Gunnar
dun dun.
he's gonna have a younger sibling. And then she like walks away, and I was like, okay.
God, I wish they would have just revealed at the end of the movie that she was actually pregnant, and like,
Oh, that would be so great.
So this next scene really got me, right? We're ramping up here.
Yeah, finally.
Finally some action is happening. She's claimed to be pregnant. She stomps off. Okay, whatever. And he's like, oh, Jesus. I'm so confused about this
plan
situation
is
because
insane.
so Elysium breaks into the house again, goes into the back. They have a shed. The shed is like one of those sheds. It has like a shelving inside, like wire racks that has stuff in it. This is not a big shed, right? And At this point, I wrote she does something with a shovel. She like leans a shovel up against the shed in such a way that at this point I was so confused. I was like, what is she even doing? Because she goes to leave, but as she's leaving, Jake comes in and is like, guess what, bitch? I got your health records, and I know you're not actually pregnant. So you need to stop messing with my brother. I'm going to tell him that you're not pregnant. And she's like, no, please. Just kidding. I wasn't talking to him. He's not here. But Jake goes outside to check for Rio in the shed.
Yeah.
How is a full-grown person supposed to be inside that shed?
Just hiding.
Like,
Yeah.
what? So he opens the doors, and whatever, like,
Somehow
quantum
this
mechanics she's done
this
with
shovel
this
was
fucking
like
shovel,
load bearing.
the shovel moves, and this entire rack falls on him, and like, essentially there was like a plank that had like nails in it
a
or
nail
something.
board.
She freaks out. She's like, no. The stuff falls on him, and he's just like laying there, and she's like, no, Jake, I'm sorry. She's like freaking out. She leaves. This dude fucking dies from a shelf falling on him.
Yeah, you ever had a shovel hit you?
No.
Well, that's why you're still alive.
Well, the shelving looked to me like it had pots on it, like plant pots, but I don't know
insane.
where that nail came
And then
from.
it cuts to nighttime,
Later that
where
night.
they're like getting dinner ready, and then like, so this dude has been outside for hours,
Yeah, who knows?
and
Who knows how long.
I'm sorry, they like no one noticed,
No.
like looked in their backyard and noticed a dead body, and B, that like apparently all of the contents of their shed has come out.
Yeah, and like you were saying, like, it's a tiny shed, so like you're gonna see that guy just hanging out all bloody and shit. Like,
And so-
what were you doing?
Right.
Like-
So they're also, the back of this house is essentially glass. It's just like
Yeah,
glass
it's like
into
full wall height glass panels with the sliding glass doors. Like you
So
can
you
see
can
out there.
see the pool, which the shed is next to. You could literally just walk in her house and look out. Tori is like washing her hands in the sink. She literally is like facing him. She doesn't see him. She's like, Gunnar, go wash up for dinner or whatever. And then for no reason, I don't know why, walks outside. And it's just like, ah! They draw this out, but this guy fucking dies. Like, they do.
It's so funny.
They do.
Like
Yeah.
he gets a phone call like 20 minutes from now. They're like, oh yeah, he died. And I was like, he was alive?
Right, exactly.
He'd been laying there unconscious for like 8 hours. Like,
Literally.
I assumed he was dead.
Exactly. So, like, okay, the conversation is so funny too because he's like, he's my brother. And then he's like quiet and he's like, you said he was gonna make it. And I was like, bro. So, so Tori finds him. I said, he fucking dies because they don't see him till nighttime with like 10 exclamation points. I don't know how that happens. Whatever. Tori also finds, I'm not really sure what was happening at this point, but Tori has found some underwear underneath the bed, and she confronts Rio about it.
Yeah, Gunnar was like, check for monsters under your bed. And Tori was like, okay, I'm gonna check the whole house. And then she's like going through everything and like, she's like, oh, nothing here, Gunnar. And then she like pulls out this red thong.
Oh, like a thong. Yeah.
I really
like a piece of
I
fabric.
really thought when like she brought the gift earlier in the movie that it was going to be a pair of her underwear instead of like tequila or
my
whatever
God.
the fuck it was.
Gross.
Because like he's very like sort of like secretive when it's like handed to him and shit, and is like holding it, like not letting Tori see it or whatever. And I was like, this is definitely gonna be a pair of panties.
Yeah. So she confronts him about it. They're arguing. This is where we find out that the person he cheated on his ex with was actually Tori, and she's basically just like, I should have known, like, if you cheated with me, you'll cheat on me. She tells him off real good. She's like, I can't believe you're doing this to me and your son. Your son deserves better than you. I deserve better than you. She got him real good. And she's like, I'm going to go. I want you to find a new place to live because I can't do this anymore. And she leaves. This is when... Oh, okay. So, like, there's basically just this cut where, like, Elysium comes in and steals the gun and goes into the bedroom and is about to shoot him, but then it turns out it was
Insane,
a dream.
too. The last...
It turns out it was a dream, but she was, in fact, in the house because she was hiding the gun elsewhere.
The last 20 minutes of this movie are unhinged. Like,
Yeah.
They are. It's insane.
So, yeah. So she did, in fact, like, it's made up like it was a dream, and then he's like, oh, good, and he lays back down, and then she's like, womp, and she, like, you know, alien from Signs, like, through the doorway or whatever. So she was actually there. At this point, we don't really actually know what she was doing, right? The next morning, Gunnar answers the door, and it's social services, and they're like, do you always let your son answer the door for strangers? And I'm like, this is the second fucking time that this thing is going up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's so weird.
I personally would probably not let my child answer the door, but, like, it's their house.
yeah, like, a
Like,
lot of, like, if the, like, especially, like...
They're not home alone.
You also, like, if, like, the kid is right there, they're gonna do it. Like, they aren't gonna listen to you most of the time when you're like, don't answer the door. Like, they'll still do it. And it's not like Tori was, like, right there as well. It's not like Tori was, like, upstairs in the fucking bath.
Right, like, they were literally on the same floor of the house as the child, and also, it's not like the kid was home alone. So, like, maybe chill out a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
But the social service people are just like, you know, they're looking for problems, right? So they're like, we got an anonymous call, we need to look around the house or whatever. This is where they find that Elysium has planted Rio's gun in Gunnar's room.
Fucking
That was a mouthful.
incredible plan.
And, like, right, and then she anonymously called social services and said, I don't know, this kid has a gun in his room or something weird. The social service person is like, is this your gun? And he's like, yeah, but normally I keep it locked up. And she's like, well, how often do you let him play with it? Oh my God. He's like, I don't. Like, I don't know what's going on.
They're, like, portrayed so shitty that I feel like whoever
Yes.
wrote this movie had their kid taken away and is like a
Yeah.
weird, like, men's right activist for, like, divorces and, like, child custody.
Yeah. Like, did this happen to you? Is that what's the deal here? Everybody is just, like, against you and doing, like, I don't know. So he's basically just like, you guys don't understand. His babysitter is the one that did this, and they're like, okay, sir. So they call, like, his ex-wife over, and the ex-wife is just like, I cannot believe that you let him be near a gun, and, like, all of this stuff, which, rightful, right? And so they're like, well, we're taking away your custody until the court hearing or whatever. Your wife is going to have your son, and you're not allowed to see him. Gunnar's like, I'm so sorry, Dad, I'm so sorry. This child actor, terrible, by the way.
Yeah, pretty terrible.
He, not to, like, not great, not good. Runs up
Don't
and
crush this child's dream.
Yeah, this is gonna be like an Ernest
He's
Scared
listening.
Stupid scenario where you're gonna, like, bully
That's
this kid
Hollywood,
out of
baby.
fucking acting.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just saying maybe give him better
I
opportunities.
just also, again,
maybe give him some
like,
coaching.
I have a trouble telling, like, ages for, like, kids around that age. But, like, he
Yeah.
seems like he's acting way younger than he actually is, and it's very weird.
No, yeah, I agree. So they go to take him away, and he's like, Daddy, Daddy, and, like, runs up to him and literally says, I'm so sorry that I showed the gun to Elysium, like, to somebody. And he's like, who did you show it to? And he said, Elysium. The child literally said, it is like essentially corroborating what the dad's saying, but nobody pays attention, right? They just yank him away. This is when Rio gets, they also, like, I guess, in my mind, maybe if I'm the social worker, I, like, call the police to come confiscate the gun or something. They just leave the gun there. Like, because then he takes the gun and goes over to Elysium's house and is like, hey,
Hey, girl.
girl, things have been kind of fucked up, right? So he's, like, holding the gun at her, and she, of course, is crying and freaking out. She's like, what are you doing? You're scaring me. And he's like, you are literally ruining my fucking life.
Like,
You killed my
Well,
brother.
not.
Oh, I forgot about the part where he gets the phone call about he gets the phone call about his brother dying, and that's when he kind of like literally actually flies off the handle and gets the gun and goes over there.
It's so fucked up in like this scenario where it's like I can go along with her like fucking with this dude, but then to be like, I'm gonna make sure this kid loses all fucking like custody from their dad is so insane.
Also, like, can we just like rewind back to the fact that like I understand that it was an accident, but she killed a fucking man, and if it wasn't Jake, the same thing would have happened to him. He would be fucking dead. She doesn't even like acknowledge the fact that she killed a person.
Jake doesn't seem like he's got that muscly build. I feel like all that stuff would have just bounced off Rio. He'd have been fine.
Oh, I see. True. Yeah. So yeah, he's like, you killed my brother. Like, and this is when, so Tori does not know any of this shit has happened. She calls him and is like, hey, I'm coming back to the house to get some of my stuff. When she shows up, obviously she hears Rio like screaming at the top of his lungs, I guess, from the house next door. So she goes over there, sees Rio pointing the gun at Elysium, and this is when he's like, you're fucking with me, you're ruining my life, you killed my brother. And Elysium is like, I'm so scared, like playing the victim, right? Well, like, obviously it's scary to have a gun pointed at you. But then, and Tori is like trying to talk him down, like, baby, it's okay, I'm here, we'll work through this together, like, calm down. And Elysium says, if you would have just loved me, none of this would have happened.
Incredible.
So, like, that to me, Tori does not register this at all. That is her confessing to everything.
It's wild that Tori has like zero reaction.
Yeah,
nothing at all.
Like, all right, whatever.
And like, not only that, she's still like so much on Elysium's side that she's like holding his face and she's like, we're gonna figure this out together, like, don't worry about it. And as soon as he like takes his focus off of Elysium, Tori says run. So I
mean, that's fair, because it's like, you know, you're getting another person out of the scenario where there's a gun held at them, but it's like,
yeah, right.
Like, there's never a moment that she is portrayed as being like, wait, he was right this whole time?
No, exactly. So this is really where it goes off the rails, and this is then immediately
damn near screamed when this happened.
I was immediately here for it, but then immediately really unsatisfied, because so Tori tells Elysium to run, Elysium runs, and he's like, Rio chases her out of the house. He's still holding a gun, by the way, chases her out of the house. Tori chases after both of them, runs out into the street, and Elysium's fucking aunt hits her with a car. And
it kills her.
I assume kills her.
It rocks.
Like,
it's so good.
She rolls over the hood, whatever. He sees it and is like, oh my god, baby, and like goes over and is like, no, Tori, crying. Elysium's just like fucking standing there like, well,
finally.
That was something. So here's where I have a really hard time with this. It immediately cuts to Rio like doing community
prison
service
yard.
at prison, and I'm like, what has he been charged with?
Yeah, why is he in prison?
I mean, I'm
endangering life.
I'm assuming there's something of with just like
aggravated
assault.
Yeah,
like holding a gun to fucking Elysium and all that shit. Like,
where's the proof? The only witness is dead. I'm assuming Tori died.
Well,
like, I think they fucking killed her.
I'm assuming that whenever police show up to get Tori, there's a gun there, and there's got to be an explanation, all that shit. Like,
but like,
there's also like, it's also a bunch of shit where like the only person now that could have like somewhat corroborated his story that she was fucking with it this whole time was Tori, who's now dead. So, and
the aunt, who's not going
and so it's all going to come down to like whatever Elysium's story is, and so I'm assuming it's just like, oh, he got me kicked off this team by like drugging me. Like, there's a bunch of shit that like it makes sense to me. I don't know like if he would be doing like a fucking hard prison time necessarily, but
I don't think so. But then so he's doing time, right? He's like picking up litter in the fucking yard or whatever. He gets delivered a note that we don't ever find out who it's from, what it says, nothing. They just hand him a note and he's like looking at it all somber, right?
I think they're a couple now.
Then it cuts to Elysium
Finally together.
going to visit her dad's grave, which is in this like huge, elaborate, gorgeous mausoleum. And she basically is just like, well, Dad, I did some bad things. Sorry.
Life's pretty
The
strange.
Her peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Without the crust. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Like, the ending of this, like, after Tori gets hit by the car, the movie lasts, like, a second. And I was like, I absolutely need more explanation for what's going on here.
You
Yeah.
know there's a
sorry.
sequel. I guarantee you there's a sequel that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I need to know.
When you look through, like,
Like-
the Tubi originals, there will be, like, some of these movies where there's, like, The Evil Stepmother 4 or some shit, and I'm like, please, just give me, like, he gets out of prison, and she still wants him.
I'm sorry. The aunt should be in prison for killing somebody.
You don't know she's not.
Elysium.
I said
Huh?
you don't know she's not.
Well, she should have
I
been the
bet
one
she
standing in the
fled.
prison
She
yard.
fled back to fucking Cuba or whatever.
Back
Hit
to-
and run.
She's
like,
she's in the fucking, like, the tropics now.
That would have been so funny if she just was like, shit! And she just, like, zoomed
Not
away.
again.
There's just like a post-credit scene we didn't watch of her just like on a beach.
Maybe. Yeah, and then also, like, no repercussions for Elysium either, obviously. But I'm just like, the end, I mean, I don't know. I felt very shortchanged by the ending. That's what, like, knocked it down for me.
This is like without that car crash, like Tori getting hit by the car, this would have been like a 2.5 star for me. That knocked it up an entire star, and I was like, "This," because I like it was
What an
it's
incredible moment.
so out of nowhere that I was like, "This rocks."
Well, the moment that the CPS finds the gun in Gunner's room, there's 9 minutes
Right.
left of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is gonna happen in 9
What could
minutes? That's gonna, like,
possibly,
yeah, like what could possibly happen? And as soon as they started all running out into the street, I was like, someone's getting run over by a car.
It's got like the ending has got real Giallo vibes where like it's just like a reveal
Yes.
and then the end.
the end immediately.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand, like, why are you showing me that he's in prison with a note? I desperately want to know what the fucking note says. Like, how could you do this to me? And then also, she just is kind of like, sorry I
bet
killed
the
somebody,
note
Dad.
just said, "I still love you" in jelly,
Maybe, yeah.
and it's such a big.
It would be
fucking
funny
hunk
if,
of
like-
refrigerated peanut butter.
Because it's like a voiceover of her, like saying, like, Dad, some stuff happened. Like, what if it was, like, her writing the note to her dad, but, like, that's what I thought it was at first, and I was, like, really confused because he's handed the note when she starts talking to her dad, and I was like, huh? Is she, like, narrating the note? No.
My theory: she's Gossip Girl.
XOXO.
Oh,
Got it.
yes.
Go piss girl. Got it. All right, well.
This movie rocks. Everybody go watch it. It's free. You have no excuse.
No, I mean, I will say I was pleasantly surprised for a to be original because I wasn't expecting it to be anything. Like, it definitely wasn't boring, but I think that they could have cut out some of, like, the back and forth between Rio and Jake and then, like, amped up her, Elysium's behavior a little bit more instead of being, like, normal, like, they're flirting with each other to now all of a sudden she's killing people. But like I said, I think I've seen other movies that do this better.
I'm just gonna say this currently has 718 views on Letterboxd. I want to see this at 720 by the time after this episode comes out. I think that's reasonable.
Small ask.
All right. I don't think there was any news worth talking about that I can remember. Katie, what did you watch this
Yes.
week?
I think the only thing that I watched was The First Omen.
Oh, yeah, save that then.
Yeah, which was surprising to me because I have not seen any of the other Omen movies. And we are going to do an episode on it. The only thing that I'm going to just say about it is that I have seen some things that I've never seen before. And I'll just leave it at that. A kid, I
know
think,
exactly what
knows
you're
exactly what I'm
talking
talking about. I
'Cause same.
screamed.
I was
I
like, how
screamed.
did they get away with that?
The scream I scrummed. I had no. I just so. But all that to say is that like I don't think it's a spoiler. I thought it rocked. I was surprisingly like very into it.
Well,
so
Right? Slaps.
yeah,
I feel like you're gonna be real disappointed.
probably.
I mean, the original
but
Omen, a masterpiece, but they get
Yeah.
drastically
Yeah.
downhill and weirder like after that.
I'm sure. Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
Sam Neill
But
killed it in the one
yeah.
he's in.
I'm
I-
excited to talk about it
I
when we
cannot
like eventually
wait
get to
to
it.
talk about the remake because I think it is the worst horror remake ever made.
Okay.
I only saw it once, like so
I-
long ago. I don't even
I
remember
saw
it.
it in theaters on June
Oh, wow.
6th, 2006 when it came
Same.
out, and I was like,
On 6/6.
I was like,
6/06.
this is the most boring fucking movie I think I've ever seen. Kit, what did you watch this week?
Last week I watched Furiosa, and I think that's all I've watched.
I don't,
You loved it.
Yeah, Furiosa is incredible.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
shit,
So good.
Sheridan, what did... well,
Anyone who's talking about box office or that it's bad
stop
is a
talking
loser.
about Mad Max.
And I hate
Mad
them.
Max sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
I actually do want to see Furiosa, but I also don't care about Mad Max. I just like Anna Taylor-Joy, so...
Yeah, same.
Fair. Totally fair.
Sheridan, what have you watched lately? Anything good?
Well, before we started recording, I told you guys that I watched In a Violent Nature, new horror movie. It's it's brand new, so I won't give any spoilers, but I highly recommend it
Yeah, you
to
could
anyone that's looking for something different in the slasher universe. It's like one of the most surprisingly violent movies I've ever seen. And that's all I'll say about it. It's great.
know nothing about the plot of that movie, but somehow within like 3 hours of it being in theaters, knew every death in it because of fucking everyone on Instagram that like, which I barely care about
You don't
slashers, so
care.
I'm not that
That's
interested.
what-
I
yeah.
literally only want to see that movie because I know Steven Kostansky did like a special effects on it. But it's like one of those
Okay,
things where I'm
got
just
it.
like, you guys can't wait even a fucking day before you ruin everything in these movies anymore.
I just want to punch those people in the fucking face. God damn it.
Yeah.
God, if you're one of those people listening, if you're one of those people that does that, fuck
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I really don't get this like push to be like the first person to say I saw this thing and here like chill out, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of it where like I'll see shit where like it'll premiere at like a festival where you know the movie isn't going to be out for months, and there'll be people
Right,
like they'll
yeah.
leave like a letterbox review or something that's like an entire plot breakdown, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Anything else, Sheridan?
I watched so I don't know about you guys. I'm really into like cult documentaries.
Me.
Super into it. So there's I watched a cult documentary on Netflix about this like dance management company / church that did, I don't know, it's called Dancing for the Devil, and it's like a TikTok cult, I guess. It's fucking wild. Cults are crazy and wild, and I love it.
I also love cults. Unfortunately, do not have Netflix, so I can't watch it. However, I did learn about it in the wild through TikTok, in that like I usually find out about stuff like after whatever thing has happened and then people are talking about it, because I literally saw somebody talking about the documentary and then being like, oh yeah, this is like literally a cult where people, and because like I feel like the thing about TikTok that everybody's just like, oh, it's just people dancing, which like, yeah, there's a lot of people on there dancing. It's not on my For You page because I don't watch or interact with people dancing, so it's not. But all the people commenting and being like, oh my god, I just realized that there's like 5 people that I follow that are like in this dancing cult, and it just like is so mind-boggling. Like the words like dancing cult, TikTok, like all of that stuff just do not seem like they should go together, and it's
Yeah.
just extremely wild.
It is. It's really wild, and it's only 3 episodes, so it's like a nice, weekend watch or whatever. And I just really enjoy. I don't know why. I don't like true crime. I really don't like true crime, but cult shit, I will get down on that.
Yeah, I'm the
forever.
same. Like, I don't really like true crime stuff at all, but like we watched like the
Yeah.
Nexium documentary, which is insane.
Yes.
I really want to watch. I
Oh my
think
God.
it's on Netflix, and I never log into Netflix. There's a documentary about the Ashley Madison hacks
Yeah.
that I really want
It's
to watch
really
because
crazy.
like it's
Yeah, that one's really
always been
crazy.
insane to me that there was a dating site that was about like literally just like, yeah, cheat on your spouse or whatever. It's just like, oh,
Like literally
you
for the purposes
you literally
of
think this is just never going to get hacked and that information is going to get out? It sounds incredible.
Yeah. If you haven't watched, I know Nathan has, the Cult of Mother
Oh my
God,
God, it's so good.
documentary.
That was one of
Liter-
the most disturbing ones I think I've seen in a long time.
I
That one was messed up.
It is, because again, it's like normally, like we kind of talked about this before, but like normally when you're talking about like cult stuff, it's like the 80s or the 70s, and then there's like some other ones, like what's the church that the Duggars are a part of? No.
It's not FLDS, it's fuck.
I know I'm forgetting it. Whatever, but it's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
kind of stuff where it's like early 2000s, whatever. But it's like so wild to see stuff like with the TikTok thing that happens now, that there's just like that Cult of Mother God documented literally everything, and they were like doing YouTube live, and like it's just so wild to have like access to all that footage. And like a lot
Yes.
of the other ones, like Heaven's Gate, Nexium, like they did stuff too, but it was like like a regular camcorder, so like you
Right.
you don't have as much access, but like that one just like really fucked me up.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah, that one was
it's
crazy.
so weird to me, like especially with that Nexia one where I'm like, why do you have so much fucking footage of you talking and doing illegal shit? Like,
Right? So
Literally.
incriminating.
the only thing I watched was Amityville Karen, which is unsurprisingly terrible.
Sad to hear.
Was so disappointed when I hit play and saw it was an hour and 45 minutes. I was like, there's no,
Yeah.
every fucking Amityville movie post like 2005 should be not made for one, but if it is, like maybe 60 minutes. This was entirely too long and it's just fucking brutal. Alright. Shout outs, Katie.
Well, what was Amityville about it?
I don't know. A goth girl came out of the closet and like got on top of the Karen while she was sleeping, and then all of a sudden she was just crazy. That was the
Fair.
extent. I don't know. It's fucking. It was a movie that just had this woman ranting endlessly, nonstop. Where I was like, this is so fucking annoying. Like literally, the first 10 minutes is just her in her house alone, bitching, just fucking bitching to herself, and I was like, come on. Don't recommend anything with Amityville in the title. Except for the second one, which is insane, and the Ryan Reynolds remake, because once again, abs.
Well,
Talk about DILF.
yeah, Nathan will do almost anything for a good set of
Yep.
abs. My shout out was just going to be the Crush and Swim Fan. So I wasn't anticipating actually talking about either of them. So
You are always trying to talk about Swim Fans. What the hell are you talking about?
that's true. That is fair. I actually haven't rewatched it in a while, so I'm gonna do that.
Alright, what about you, Kit?
It's the best Rangers game of the year tonight, and it's Bark at the Park.
Aww.
So, all during innings, you're just gonna get to see, video snippets of people with their dogs in the seats. So, Bark at the Park.
Oh yeah.
They do that. Is it baseball? Doug, you
Yep.
said Rangers. Yeah, we have like a minor league team here called the Shrimps, the Jumbo Shrimps, which I am obsessed with. I don't really care about sports, obviously, but we went to a game last year and it was literally so fun. But it's weird because they do a lot of the dog stuff too, but like I think that they do one every week where you can bring your dog. There's like a special section for it. So like our mascot is a giant jumbo shrimp, but then there's also a separate dog mascot, like specifically for the dogs, which is very cute.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'd like to take Hooch if I didn't think he was going to die in the heat.
True. Yeah.
Right, Katie, take over for a minute. I'll be back.
I think that it was Nathan's turn to have a shout out. So I think his shout out is Ghost Adventures because he never shuts up about Ghost Adventures. If you ask
Love
me.
Zach Baggins.
He loves Zach Baggins so much. Sheridan, do you have a shout out?
Shout outs? Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. So I've been rewatching Venture Brothers for like the 7,000th time, and I just watched their last movie, I think it's called Sacred Blood of the Baboon Heart, and it's very good. So please watch Venture Brothers, and please watch the movie that just came out because it's great.
I loved that show when it was airing. I don't know if I ever finished it though.
It's 7
Now's the time.
seasons, so it's like perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
What is it on?
HBO.
Okay, I have HBO. Haha. Nathan. Oh, we said Nathan said Ghost Adventures. Normally this is when. Oh yeah. Do you have anything you want to shout out for you personally?
I mean, I'm not really podcasting at the moment, so I'm not doing too much in the way of like, content creation. But I am on Instagram. I post movie stuff at Your Goliath Pal, or not Your Goliath Pal. That's my way old tag. The Final Girl Next Door is my name on Instagram, and I don't know. I post a lot of movie stuff, and that's pretty much it right now.
I'm back. My shout out.
But if you want to listen to old episodes when I'm doing stuff, you can look for Trash Blood Horrorcast or Flick Chicks on Spotify or whatever y'all listen on. Some good episodes about some good horror movies.
I was saying my shout out now that I'm back. Go follow Sheridan.
Your shout out was Ghost Adventures.
Oh, fair.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're telling everyone you love Zach Baggins.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm assuming he's a DILF.
I think he works out.
Does he have a kid?
Yeah.
That's the qual.
I mean, just look at
No.
Katie's
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah. He does not have a kid. I think he actually... You know what? I think he actually is dating someone right now that's actually like a celebrity. Let me see.
No, thank you.
Celebrity
I think
ghost.
it was somebody funny. Like, oh, Holly Madison.
Wait, like from the Playboy show?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I was like, I knew it was somebody hilarious. Like, she's not hilarious, but for Zach, like, what? I guess maybe they used to date before and now they're back together again. And I was like, that is very interesting. Weird.
All right. I'm assuming, I don't know if this got said, but Sheridan, thank you for joining us for this insane
Absolutely.
movie. We'll do it again.
Thank you, guys.
We'll let
Thanks.
you watch some garbage monster movie next time.
Oh yeah. Anytime. Thanks for having me on and letting me talk to you guys about this kind of insane movie.
This is a long time coming. We've talked about having you come on for a while, and then just all of our schedules are constantly insane. So
Totally. Yeah. I'll hop back on anytime. You guys are awesome. My other shout outs to you guys. Fucking listen to I Hope You Suffer, you assholes.
yeah, the fuck.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what we're doing next week. We gotta figure out Kit's schedule because Lindsay's coming on for whenever we do Deadly Mile High Club. So,
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
it'll be that or maybe Deadly Cheer Camp or whatever the fuck that movie was called.
Oh yeah.
Something
Deadly
deadly.
something. Yeah.
Deadly month.
All right. I hope you have abs, but why?